For decades, researchers have explored how teachers can think of students' cultural identities and lived experiences as a tool for academic success. And these teaching methods, which experts broadly refer to as asset-based pedagogies, can get really complex. 3 terms we'll focus on to better understand this area of research are culturally relevant pedagogy, culturally responsive teaching, and the newer culturally sustaining pedagogy. To break it all down, we can think of these terms like we think of a tree. There are roots, a trunk, and branches and leaves. And when these types of teaching come together, they contribute to the shared goal of making schools a place that values students' cultures in a way that ultimately empowers all learners, but particularly students of color. For instance, take the roots. Teddy Beam Conroy, associate teaching professor at the University of Washington, said the roots can represent the rich wealth of knowledge of students' communities, which has been overlooked in mainstream education. A different approach to teaching that values that knowledge is known as culturally relevant pedagogy. It was introduced in the 1990s by Gloria Ladson-Billings after she researched how teachers effectively taught African American students. She laid out culturally relevant pedagogy's 3 main components: prioritizing students' intellectual growth, creating an environment where students affirm and appreciate their cultural origin while also developing fluency in other cultures, and teaching students how to identify, analyze, and solve real-world problems, especially those around societal inequities. If culturally relevant pedagogy is the trunk of the tree, then culturally sustaining pedagogy and culturally responsive teaching are its branches, and each of their various components the leaves. In the year 2000, Geneva Gay coined the term culturally responsive teaching, which utilizes students' different cultural characteristics, experiences, and perspectives as tools for better classroom instruction. Things like understanding different groups' cultural values and traditions, sharing multiple perspectives with context, validating cultural identity, and modifying the classroom to fit different communication styles. These are all components of culturally responsive teaching. 12 years later, Django Paris coined the term culturally sustaining pedagogy, another branch on the tree and another framework that builds on Ladson-Billings' original research. Culturally sustaining pedagogy supports teaching in a way that celebrates multiculturalism and decenters whiteness in the classroom. So cultural differences aren't only respected and acknowledged, they're nurtured. All of these terms are really just trying to explain the bigger picture of asset-based pedagogies, or the overall tree, if you will. And even though each term has its own components, defined by different researchers at different times, they all share the same goal of making school a place where the knowledge of marginalized communities informs instruction. This type of teaching empowers all students to become lifelong critical thinkers. For continuing coverage on culturally responsive teaching and other teacher topics, go to our Education Week teacher page at edweek.org/teacher-learning.